Championship Week on the ESPN family of networks, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. We are at the 25th Big East Women's Basketball Championship in Hartford, Connecticut, presented by Aeropostale. And tonight, the Big East Tournament Championship, 19th ranked Rutgers and number 2 Connecticut. Last night in the semis, UConn rolled over Louisville, and Rutgers got past Marquette with a big defensive effort in the second half. So we have the top seeds battling it out for the Big East Tournament Championship and the automatic bid into the NCAA tournament. Beth Mowins along with Nancy Lieberman and Rebecca Lobo. And let's take a look now at our American Century Investment Star Watch, and it features Essence Carson and Renee Montgomery.
Well, Essence Carson is known for her defense, 2-time Big East Defensive Player of the Year, but it's her offense that has sparkled this year, almost doubling her output from a year ago. Her counterpart, the sophomore, Renee Montgomery, I call her Miss Consistent. Double figures in 10 of the last 11 games. She is clutch when it comes to shooting, and she is the vocal leader for Oriema's team.
And from the perimeter to the post, steers Rebecca Lobo.
Well, Beth, tonight for the post, it's pretty simple. Kia Vaughn needs to touch the basketball. She can be unstoppable when she gets the ball on the block. She had 22 and 11 last night, but Rutgers has had difficulty getting her touches when they played against UConn. Why? UConn double and triple teams her. Her teammates sometimes don't have good passing angles, and sometimes they simply miss her when she's wide open. They cannot afford to miss her tonight. Kia told me the guards have to relax, make shots, and then things will open up for me.
Thank you, Rebecca. And opposite Vaughn will be freshman center Tina Charles in the Big East tournament, averaging 13.5 points and shooting close to 70% from the floor. The head coaches, two of the best in the business. Gino Auriemma in his 22nd season with the Huskies. They are going for their 14th Big East tournament title. He's got 618 wins in his career. C. Vivian Stringer, 36 years on the sideline, 12 of those at Rutgers. She's third all-time in victories, and her Scarlet Knights are seeking their first ever Big East Tournament Championship. They are 0-4 in finals appearances. This series got real interesting last year when Rutgers swept the regular season and won the regular season title for the second year in a row. But as you can see, UConn has dominated in the Big East tournament.
Well, they have dominated, but I really want to go back to what Rebecca Lobo just alluded to with Kia Vaughn in the post. In the 2 games this year, Kia Vaughn has only taken 16 shots against Connecticut. That is 8 attempts a game. I think to get some sort of penetration, some sort of foul trouble on Connecticut's post, you've got to give her a chance to get the ball in the front of the rim.
Vaughn, the sophomore from the Bronx, leads this team in rebounding and field goal percentage. We talked about the impact of Tina Charles, the freshman for UConn. Epiphany Prince is another freshman in the starting lineup for Rutgers. She is their leading scorer. These are 2 teams playing for the Big East Tournament Championship without a senior anywhere near the floor, much less on it.
Well, Rutgers is going to have a better chance of winning a game like this if Epiphany Prince can pick up her scoring total. It's been down the last 10 games. Beth, you and I talked about before the game. Is she tired? Is Brittany Ray, the other freshman, getting tired from the competition of the Big East?
UConn has the #1 seed in their home whites. Rutgers the 2 seed in red. Sharday Houston on the baseline penetration, no good. She grabs the rebound over Vaughn, the top shot blocker in the league for 2.
The catalyst in the post position, and a player that I thought should have been on the first team All-East, Sharday Houston, having her most consistent season against this man-to-man, really the best defense as far as points allowed. Rutgers to the UConn basketball team.
Mattia Ajavon on the drive. Tried to drop it off for Kia Vaughn. These 2 teams met in the final game of the regular season down at the Rack in Piscataway, and UConn blew the doors off the Scarlet Knights 70-44 in one of the poorest offensive performances of the season for this Rutgers team. They want to try and make amends.
Okay, well, let me clear this up. You said it was a game? No, it wasn't a game. It was a 26-point blowout. In the 2 games this year, Rutgers has only averaged 47 points against Connecticut. They must pick it up on the offensive end.
Helena Green for two. And now Ajvan, who has been outstanding on the offensive end of the floor in the last 2 weeks. She'll take it strong to the bucket. Kalena Green has the defensive rebound.
Boy, that's a tough matchup for Mel Thomas, having to guard Mati Ajvan, averaging, as you mentioned, 20 points in the last couple games for Rutgers.
Montgomery didn't know the other defender was coming. Epiphany Prince on the run. A couple of fast break points for Rutgers.
But that's what happens. Their defense creates their offense when they can't get into a half-court set. I think because Connecticut is such a great offensive team, their defense doesn't get enough credit.
Prince again on the run. Rutgers proving that they can score in transition. And they tie it up with just over a couple of minutes gone.
Now, they do such a great job of forcing turnovers. They get almost 8 steals a game.
Prince diving out into the passing lane, knocked out of bounds off the freshman.
We saw them do that against Marquette, a very good Marquette basketball team that only scored 55 points against Rutgers in the semifinals, but they were in the passing lanes, Beth. Passes that they didn't steal, they deflected.
The defensive player of the year, Essence Carson, is checking Sharday Houston to start out the game defensively. There's the matchup right there. Houston looking to go to the hoop, draws contact, no foul. Kalena Green, her second offensive rebound and stick back.
Kalena Green is on top of her game. She had 16 points in the first half, and thus far 3 offensive rebounds for the best rebounding team in the Big East in Connecticut.
Connecticut trying to deny the pass back to the opposite guard, and the pull-up is good from Carson on the tough shot.
I think it was a nice switch that time. They have now put Mel Thomas on Epiphany Prince, who doesn't really penetrate as much as Mati Ajvan.
Whistle on a foul off the ball. It will be on Essence Carson, the first on the junior from Paterson, New Jersey. Let's take a look at the last 6 years, the regular season and the tournament. A lot of different names up there. The last time the same team won them both was UConn back in '02.
Well, this shows you how competitive this conference is, and Connecticut wins this, as you say. It'll be a while since a team has been able to repeat regular season and tournament. This is as good and balanced a Connecticut team as I've seen since the title teams that won 3 in a row with Taurasi and Barb Turner and Strother and all those guys.
Prince off the mark. Tina Charles has the rebound. Green, this is where she's dangerous in the open court. Finds Mel Thomas, won't go. Last touch by the Huskies.
See, I think this is a great call right here. The referees getting together, discussing it. Sharday Houston was all over that. Kudos to Dee Kantner and Bonita Spence making the right call in a very big game.
Along with Dennis Tomeo, a very veteran crew here for the Big East Final. Montgomery right off the inbound, knocks it down. Connecticut opens up, shooting 50% from the floor. Rutgers is at 60% right now offensively. Vaughn will step outside. She gets the touch. Ajvan no good. That's the first touch for Vaughn, who has yet to take a shot yet. Green will pull up. Thomas tracks it down.
It is not unusual to see number 25, Mel Thomas, get the loose ball, the hustle rebounds. She might be, in all due respect, the most unathletic of all the players on the floor, but she might be the toughest.
Timeout here in Hartford, Connecticut with the early lead over Rutgers. Kalena Green working on the boards in the Big East Final.
Providing scholarship through sponsorship. And in part by Microsoft, software for the people-ready business. Go to Microsoft.com/people-ready. And Mazda, always the soul of a sports car.
Big East Tournament Final, Connecticut leading Rutgers, getting the job done on the boards right now. with 5 offensive rebounds, leading to 8 second chance points for Connecticut. They average 5 players scoring in double figures per night. Very balanced attack for Connecticut.
Well, the last time Connecticut had that type of balance, 1995, they won the national championship. 2002, they won the national championship. Both those teams went undefeated, although the 95 team, Nikisha Sales, came off the bench and gave them that double-figure scorer.
Both teams shooting 50% in the early going.
It's just such a tough scout for the opposing coach because you can't take 1 or 2 players away. You have to prepare for all 5. The ball must go. Rutgers offense has to go through Kia Vaughn.
That is her second touch, and the kick back out to Ajavon, who takes it off the dribble.
If you put the ball in instinctively as a player on a perimeter, you're going to turn and acknowledge the ball. That way, when it's kicked out, you have a rolling start to the hoop.
Houston to Mel Thomas, fouled on the back door.
They overplay Mel Thomas so hard because of her outside shooting proficiency. Watch Ajavon here, the little fake, see the beautiful split, the hop, eyes up to the rim. You make the layups with your eyes. That was set up by the inside out play of Rutgers.
Top 3-point shooter in the Big East Conference is Mel Thomas, and rock solid at the line, 92% from the free throw line.
When you have that type of accuracy, she gets a lot of her shots off of staggers on the weak side and shots in transition because Connecticut runs so hard to the front of the rim, defenders lose her on the perimeter.
We saw her moving without the ball for that last backdoor. She said she's watched a lot of Reggie Miller tape and watched how he used to move without the basketball in his days in the Indiana Pacers.
Hey, if it's good enough for Rip Hamilton to watch Reggie Miller, it'll be good enough for Mel Thomas to watch.
Vaughn had it, lost it on the way up, tied up. Rutgers will keep it. Championship week in college basketball on ESPN continues tomorrow with first-round Big East championship action from Madison Square Garden. Villanova, DePaul, and UConn, Syracuse. The Big East championship presented by Aeropostal is part of championship week presented by Dick's Sporting Goods on ESPN Wednesday, and also available in high definition on ESPN HD.
Tina Charles, the great freshman from Christ the King for Connecticut, 31 games into her collegiate career, and we asked her today, so who's been the best player that you've had to go up against this year? She said, without a doubt, it was Sylvia Fowles because of the presence she has. Sylvia Fowles from LSU, the great post player. It's just the way she played and the strength and the experience, and I think 31 games in, I think Tina Charles is well on her way to that level.
Montgomery with the pull-up. Renee has 6 to lead all scorers.
We might add, no seniors will be seen on this basketball court tonight. The only seniors we'll see is Beth Mullins and Nancy. Kia are the old ones.
Off the mark. That is the 5th touch for Kia, and her first shot attempt of this first half. Rebecca Lobo reporting earlier that it's important for Rutgers to get her involved. Green tried to tip it to herself. Kalena's already got a couple of offensive boards.
Both teams have stayed with their primary defense, which is man-to-man. They do a great job of forcing you to areas of the floor, and they send help. They swarm to those areas right here.
Ajavon off the window. She's had 2 20-point performances already here at the Big East tournament, with 21 over DePaul and 20 last night against Marquette.
You talked about the balance, Beth, of the Connecticut scoring. When Rutgers has 3 players or more in double figures, they're 17-4. When only 2 or less, they are 4-4. This is a team that needs balance within their offense.
Shot clock winding down. Green from the corner. Good defensive set that time by Rutgers. That is their calling card. Ajavon. Now they swing it back outside to Curson.
Ajavon really starting to feel her game come back. She was rusty earlier in the season.
Vaughn draws the foul on Tina Charles. That is the first on Tina. So Kia Vaughn will head to the free throw line. As you see the numbers on Matee from the semis.
She has a metal rod about 8-9 inches long in her left leg. She had a stress fracture. She had surgery on that. Essentially, she didn't play from when last season ended until when she came back in December.
Keisha Soigné comes into the game for UConn. And the tempo just got quicker for Connecticut.
Oh, this is speed ball right here for Gina Auriemma's backcourt. As quick as there is in the country.
Vaughn gets that one to go. Rutgers will counter with a little pressure here. And the quick turnover as soon as Soigné came into the game, and Rutgers jumps all over it. Carson for two. And we are tied at 14.
This is that 55 defense that Vivian Stringer loves to set. You put a big on top, it takes away passing sight lines, and you're not trying to steal here, you're just trying to use a lot of clock.
And the offensive foul called on Sharday Houston. Ajivon draws the charge. Rutgers coming back to tie it up here in the first. Thank you, Dave. Championship week presented by Dick's Sporting Goods here at the Big East Women's Championship presented by Aeropostal. Rutgers and UConn all tied up at 14, under 12 to play for the automatic bid to the NCAA tournament, and Rutgers turning Connecticut over in scoring.
Well, they're doing that off their defense. You know, we've talked about how you have to establish the inside with Kia Vaughn, who only has one shot. You don't need to establish the inside if Rutgers can continue to get points off steals. They are trapping the ball on the wing. Epiphany has had 2 field goals. Both have come off steals. They're trapping in the corners. This pace of this game is totally in Rutgers' favor right now. You're talking about a UConn team that averages almost 79 points a game.
Heather Zurich. It's an 8-0 Rutgers run right now.
Zurich, a 5th option player, loves the top of the foul line area. Spacing is so important against Rutgers because they're very quick and long.
They had the box out but couldn't hold it as Green continued to work to get to the loose ball.
Rutgers has taken away the slash, they have taken away transition, and they're not giving up second chance points on rebounds.
Houston with the explosion to the bucket and a second charge taken by Matee Ajivon, and it's the second foul on Houston.
Sharday Houston has to recognize the rotation behind the first split of the defense. Maybe you pull up and you kick the ball out to the shooter in the corner. Look where Ajivon left the shooter to step in front. Second foul by Sharday Houston.
So she will sit down, and Brittany Hunter, the 6'3" junior from Columbus, Ohio, comes on. 8 unanswered in the last 3.5 minutes for the Scarlet Knights.
Gosh, what a big confidence boost right now for Rutgers. They had to be a little fragile after that last game they played on senior night.
Hunter comes right in off the bench and grabs the rebound. Soigné. Montgomery for 3, got it. We talked to Keisha Soigné about playing alongside Montgomery. She said it's great to have not only 2 point guards and ball handlers, but 2 shooters and slashers out there as well. Makes them very hard to guard. We can see why.
Well, Montgomery has just taken her game to another level. This really is point guard you. I mean, think about it. Rosati, Bird, Taurasi, and now you have the next in the long line of stars in Renee Montgomery.
Kia Vaughn getting on the glass and drawing the foul.
Look at the eyes up, just seeing where the gaps are. That little pull-up by Soigné, and she finds her backcourt partner open for the jumper.
21 points and 3 assists in that regular season finale win down at Rutgers. And Vaughn back to the free throw line. She is getting plenty of touches so far here in the first half. And she has just drawn foul number 2 on Tina Charles. So now both Houston and Charles will sit with 2 personals.
But didn't Gino say that? He said, you know, one of the problems is that if we get into foul trouble, but they have depth in the post, they have a nice 4-post rotation.
8 touches for Kia. She's been to the line now on 2 occasions and has 3 points. Tied at 17, under 10 to go here in the first half of the Big East Tournament Championship. Another strip. Rutgers looking to steal and score, and Prince is fouled on the drive.
Superb job. Active hands, active feet. Anytime you steal the ball that high up on the offensive end, the mentality is steal, score. There's usually nobody in front of you right here. Epiphany Prince knows she's going to get fouled. You've got to keep your eye on the target.
Soignier picks up her first, so Prince, the freshman from Brooklyn, the leading scorer on the team, picks up her 5th point in the early going. This is great for Rutgers because she was a season low 1 of 10 from the floor and just 6 points in that last UConn game, and is already starting out much better.
Young people need to keep their confidence, especially someone who's going to get as many minutes as she's going to.
Soignier. Vaughn able to slow her down momentarily. Green looking for 3. Holly McLaren tracks it down.
Nice hustle by the freshman. Transition defense is something that was written all over the locker room board by Rutgers. They had to get back. UConn has not had one fast break basket in 9-10 minutes so far.
And Gino Auriemma not at all pleased with 8 Connecticut turnovers, leading to 12 Rutgers points. Rutgers has taken care of business with just the 1 turnover, and that's why UConn's having a hard time getting out and running. Carson coming off the double screen. Good.
She's killing it. Absolutely. A year ago, Essence Carson shot 17% in the Big East tournament. Now she is turning it up a notch. She's shooting almost 44%.
3 for 3 today for Essence Carson. Hunter, baseline, no. Prince with the rebound.
But don't you get the feeling that Connecticut looks a little bit tight and Rutgers looks like they have nothing to lose?
This is nowhere near the Rutgers team that took the floor down in Piscataway last week. Vaughn in traffic, no ball. Connecticut will get it. This is a pretty good screen for any defender to try and get through here that will free up Essence Carson.
Well, you can switch the little to little screen, but if the last screen right there is a big, you can't get out on the shooter quick enough. Essence Carson has increased her range this year. She's taken 93s. She didn't take 93s her first 2 years playing at Rutgers.
Sharday Houston comes back into the game with the 2 personal fouls. Soignier, no. Knocked out to UConn. McLaren finds Mel Thomas. Good. Prior to that attempt, Mel was just 1 of 11 from 3-point range in the last 2 tournament games.
Make no mistake, Connecticut is an inside-out team. In this game, they have had to resort to being outside in because they haven't had any productivity from their posts.
The Carson crossover and fadeaway, no. Soignier, here's an opportunity for Connecticut to go. Montgomery, pull up, got it.
You know how you beat the great defensive Rutgers? You beat them down the floor before they set up.
Timeout, Rutgers. Connecticut back on top by 1. Renee Montgomery in transition for 2. Championship week presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. Here at the Big East Women's Championship presented by Aeropostal. Are you miserable? Well, not so far for Rutgers, but that changed a little bit in the last minute as UConn has scored the last 5 points to take the lead back.
Yeah, I think right now Rutgers is very pleased with how they're playing, but if Swanier can push tempo the way she just did, that's a good sign for Connecticut.
Carson short on that attempt, and here comes Connecticut again on the run. And Montgomery has it taken away by Prince. Epiphany with the kick to Ajavon. Matee out of control. McCurdy got it.
McCurdy's minutes are going up. She is yet one of the other freshmen from Cincinnati. She played 26 minutes last game. One of the highest totals of the year, third highest total of the year for her.
Story so far, 9 UConn turnovers resulting in 16 Rutgers points. And the UConn story has been Renee Montgomery. She's got 11 already here in the first half, half of their output. Swanier with the change of pace, knocked out of bounds off of her leg. Just over 6 to go. Prince gets the steal to head the other way for Rutgers. Thank you, Dave. And here Rutgers with the 1-point lead over UConn. Texas is very intriguing indeed with an 8 strength of schedule. And of course, they are one of the host sites for the first and second rounds down in Austin, whether or not they'll get in.
Yeah, that's interesting because they're 6-10 in conference, but they're 4-11 against RPI top 50 teams. So we'll see the respect that the Big 12 is afforded.
Epiphany Prince, that shot won't go. Congratulations to Middle Tennessee and Oral Roberts grabbing automatic bids earlier today.
Also yesterday, Purdue, Katie Gerald with an unbelievable performance. They win yet another Big Ten title, Purdue. All they do is win there.
Candace Wiggins came up big for Stanford last night in the Pac-10 championship. McLaren. What a play by Swanier. The assist from her derriere.
I dare say that was a nice pass. They need to get some sort of production, Connecticut, on the inside. Tina Charles has not 1 point, nor has she taken a shot. And now she's on the bench with 2 fouls.
Kia Vaughn is 0 for 1, 3 points. Rutgers tries to get it into Vaughn. Over McLaren, no good. Kalena Green with her 7th rebound of the first half.
I love the way Kalena Green plays. She is so active. She's a slasher. She just makes things happen on both sides, and she can rebound.
Sade Houston off glass for 2.
How do you stop a team like Rutgers? You must make shots so they can't create shots off their defense.
That's 9 unanswered points now for Connecticut to jump on top by 3.
Bulk of the scoring for Rutgers has come from the perimeter, where they have 16 of their 23 points.
Shot clock winding down. Ajavon elevates, no. Green yet again with the rebound. Rutgers now scoreless for the last 4 minutes.
Both teams reverse basketball so often through their post players. If you deny it, then the guards have to get it to the weak side.
Thomas getting harassed by the Rutgers double team. They tie it up. And it will be Rutgers basketball when we come back from the floor to the finish for Connecticut. Dave, of course, the UConn men have an opening round matchup with Syracuse tomorrow at Madison Square Garden. And Gino Auriemma just a moment ago, not pleased with Mel Thomas. The 11th turnover for Connecticut, resulting in 16 points off of those turnovers for Rutgers. And Rebecca, you've been around Coach Auriemma coming off the floor in those types of situations.
Well, he's definitely fired up, and I think he was saying to Mel Thomas, if you don't dribble, they can't take the ball from you. This is a Connecticut team that prides itself on taking care of the ball. Right now, 11 turnovers and 11 field goals. When they get good shots at the basket, when they get good offensive possessions, they get good shots.
And the other thing with handling the basketball against the pressure of Rutgers is that if you take one dribble and you see the trap coming to you, pass the ball, bounce pass it before it actually gets within on top of you, because when it's there, you're not getting out of it.
Under 3 minutes to go. Connecticut by 3. Ajavon can't convert. Renee Montgomery finds Kalena Green for the pull-up.
Nothing in transition in this game for Connecticut. It all has to come out of their half-court sets.
They've been doing their damage in the first half on the offensive boards. 10 offensive rebounds, resulting in half of the points that Connecticut has scored in this first half. Carson, 3, gets the bounce.
They worked on that play in practice this morning, that when Rutgers runs that flare screen for Carson, the post has got to go out and put a hand out and at least put doubt in the mind of the passer.
That ended a 5.5-minute scoring drought for Rutgers as Thomas comes up short. Playing without Tina Charles for much of this first half, in foul trouble for UConn. Left at the 10-minute mark with her second personal.
Well, what Tina Charles being on the bench does, first of all, Sade Houston and Charles averaged 25 points combined for Connecticut, but it's her presence in the middle. She is their leading shot blocker, and it makes it so much easier for the bigs of Rutgers to get looks.
Ajavon directing traffic. McCurdy over McLaren. Offensive rebound and the stick back from Rashida Janad, and Rutgers is back on top. Three-pointer, Montgomery, no. Ajavon, under a minute to play here in the half. Matee strong to the bucket, and she's fouled.
That's the biggest difference in the game. Rutgers doing a nice job of keeping Connecticut off the foul line, because Connecticut right now is settling for jump shots. Connecticut's only been to the foul line 2 times. Thus far, Rutgers has done a nice job of getting points off defense, finding stuff in their half court, and also Ajavon getting to the foul line.
The first one goes for Ajavon. Vivian Stringer must be very pleased with the moxie shown by this Rutgers club. Wiped out by Connecticut by 26 points in the regular season finale, and they have come in here and matched the Huskies punch for punch.
But I think the fact that they've watched a lot of film, they've had a chance not only to watch Connecticut, but they've had a chance to watch themselves to see what they did wrong in that game.
Fifteen-second difference, shot clock and game clock. Ajavon off the crossover in traffic. Wow. Behind her head won't go. And then on the breakout, Soignier foul. Championship week in college basketball on ESPN continues tomorrow. The Big East Championship presented by Aeropostale. First round competition, Providence taking on West Virginia tomorrow night at 7 Eastern. And St. John's Marquette will meet Wednesday night at 9 Eastern. The Big East Championship presented by Aeropostale. Part of the championship week presented by Dick's Sporting Goods on ESPN. Also available in high definition on ESPN HD. Call your cable operator or satellite provider today. The women winding up tonight. The men get underway in New York City tomorrow.
Yeah, that's Jamie Dixon's team. Be interesting to see how they play.
Georgetown Holes and John Thompson III, the #1 seed in the Big East tournament at Madison Square Garden this week. And the foul with 4 seconds left. That will be on Epiphany Prince, but
it's not a bad foul.
will not put UConn on the line.
It's actually a very good play, because if you think you're going to get beat and you foul them right away, they do have to take it out of bounds.
We still got one to give. Montgomery off the mark. Still 8/10 left on the clock for Rutgers.
For Rutgers, number 4, Dee Dee Jernigan. She replaces number 10, Epiphany Prince.
Rutgers has to be so pleased with how this first half has gone for them.
They will take the lead into the locker room, 29-26. Tina Charles, scoreless, only played 10 minutes before picking up her second personal foul. Rebecca Lobo is with Gino.
Coach, a much different game than when we saw a week ago against Rutgers. What have they done that's given you the most difficulty this first half?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure out why we can't get to the free throw line. But the turnovers and a couple of we came into the game saying if we don't turn it over and if we don't put them on the free throw line, then we'll be fine. And you know what? We put them on the free throw line and we turn the ball over. But at the other end, offensively, we're completely out of sync right now. So we got to figure out a way to get our offense in gear, because right now we're just completely out of sync.
All right, Coach, thank you. Beth?
Thanks, Rebecca. Connecticut shooting just 35% out of sync, 11 turnovers, and Rutgers is 6 of 8 from the free throw line. Now let's join Dave Revson in the studio for the Cisco halftime report.
Put your hands up, block 'em. Put your hands up, block 'em. Put your hands up, block 'em up. Put your hands up, block 'em. Put your hands up, block 'em. Put your hands up. To all my players and my ballers that's on top. NCAA is about to pop.
It's championship week on the ESPN family of networks, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. We are at the 25th Big East Women's Basketball Championship in Hartford, Connecticut, presented by Aeropostale. And the UConn Huskies looking for their 3rd championship in a row. Rutgers looking for their 1st ever, and they have the lead at the half. Let's take a look now at our Guinness first half stats.
Well, really, the stat that jumps out at me right here is the second chance points, because really that's the only thing that has allowed Connecticut to stay in this first half. I really believe that, and the 16 points, that's off 11 UConn turnovers. 2 turnovers by Rutgers. This is a team that averages about 15. They played really as well as they could offensively. Tina Charles has to be a factor in the middle right off the bat in the second half for Connecticut.
Huge rebounding advantage for UConn through the first 10 minutes. That's where they got most of their points, were on second chance opportunities. Charles is back into the game to start the second half with the 2 personal fouls, along with Thomas, Montgomery, Houston, and Green in the white jerseys of the top seed. Carson way up for the rebound. She's got Ajivon running with her, along with Vaughn, Zurich, and Epiphany Prince in the red jersey 2 seed Rutgers Scarlet Knights.
I have to wonder what the psyche is right now of Connecticut. We've bragged about the fact that there's no seniors on the floor. These next 4 or 5 minutes will be telltale for them. They have not been in this situation before.
UConn got the giveaway and then provided the takeaway.
You know, a year ago in the Big East Finals, when they were playing West Virginia, who did Gino Auriemma go to at the end of the game? He went to his veteran, Ann Strother, who helped them win yet another Big East title. There's nobody else on here that has been in that situation.
Essence Carson, who led all scorers with 9 points in the first half, starts out with a 2-pointer. And let's check in with Rebecca.
Well, guys, I asked Coach Stringer what has been the difference between a week ago and tonight. She said simply 2 things: more poise, and Matee Ajivon is on the floor. In their last meeting, Ajivon sat much of the first half in foul trouble.
Montgomery no good. And Rutgers will go the other way with it. Ajivon had 5 points in that first half. This is Matee on the drive. High arcing shot won't go. She gets her own rebound.
The difference in what happened a week ago is that Ajivon, I believe, had 1 assist and 9 points and said she was the worst point guard in America. She was so disappointed in her play after that loss. She has been playing like a star since she got to Hartford 3 games ago.
Prince tips it to Carson. Can't convert on the back-to-back attempts, and the reach-in foul will be called on Prince. Let's take a look at the work of Mattia Ajavon.
She has been wonderful. She loves to penetrate to the right side of the floor. You got to jump her right shoulder. Usually the pull-up is on the left side, but she's got a nice blend of inside-outside game. She keeps you a little honest with that jumper.
Being held though right now to just 2 of 13 from the floor.
And she's been shooting well the last 6 games. She's shooting 60% from 3, which opens up the drive.
Now, Nancy, I think we see the message delivered by Gino Auriemma at halftime. Let's get more aggressive, taking the ball to the basket and get to the free throw line.
Well, we mentioned in the first half that Connecticut averages almost 18 shots a game from the foul line. In the first half, they had only 2. Very unusual for an aggressive team that likes to get to the rim.
Charles, a freshman from New York City, top 5 in the Big East Conference this year in field goal percentage, rebounds, and block shots in just her rookie campaign. There you see tonight as a team, this will be just their 4th free throw attempt thus far. Charles 58% at the line this year. Knocks that second one down.
And Tina Charles wants another championship, and she was so successful on the high school level at Christ the King. She must be a factor, and she has to establish the inside.
She did not lose in her junior or senior years at Christ the King.
Not many do.
Ajavon gets that to go for 2.
You cannot come out on Ajavon with your hand by your side as Green did. You must have a hand up and match her shooting hand.
7 now for Matee to go along with the 11 points from Essence Carson. Charles. Janai just let her blow right by for the lay-in.
That's a matchup for Tina Charles to exploit as often as she can get the opportunity.
Charles well rested after playing just the 10 minutes in the first half.
There have been no punches pulled by each team defensively. They have stayed in man-to-man defense.
Prince finds Carson at the buzzer. Rebounded by Thomas. Now Connecticut will get out in the open floor. Charles lost the handle. Houston soaring in, around and out.
You know, I'm okay with that because at least it's something on the inside that's going to the rim for Connecticut.
The block by Charles on the drive by Ajavon.
She leads the teams. That's her 66th block of the season for Tina Charles. We saw her dunk when we were at the Nike Skills Academy her junior year. She took 1 step and dunked. Duffy was going to do it without a step.
A step ladder, I probably could have pulled that off. Thomas, nobody near the 6th best three-point shooter in the land, and she drains her 2nd of the day. She got lost in translation and in the transition.
Now you have to find Mel Thomas in transition. That's where she gets the majority of her three-point shots.
Ajavon.
Mel Thomas, you have to give that shot up. That's the shot you want if you're Mel.
Rutgers is all one-on-one right now on the offensive end. Charles. Jump ball, possession arrow will go to Rutgers. You have got to find the junior from Cincinnati. Cannot leave her this alone from beyond the arc. Thanks a lot, Dave. Tina Charles starting to warm up after she had cooled off for limited minutes in that first half, Nancy.
Well, that's promising for Tina Charles because in this little 4-minute segment, 5-minute segment by UConn, she was a factor on both ends. She got her block shot there, and we talked about the 4 points, and coaches right now are going to start departmentalizing time in this game. They look at games in terms of 4 or 5 minute segments. How did they do? Connecticut only had 1 turnover that time, and they got Charles involved. And I have to tell you, 17 shots by Matee Agevon. She has got to start getting her teammates involved.
She is actually out of the game right now, rebounded by Green. Kia Vaughn, who had a double-double in the semifinals, has taken just 2 shots. She's only got 1 touch so far in the second half. Rebecca, you've got more on Matee for us.
Well, guys, in the first half, the Rutgers guards were able to take control offensively because they got out in the transition game. Here in the second half, getting in the half-court sets, they need to get the ball into Kia Vaughn. As you mentioned, only 2 shots. Epiphany Prince told me this morning that they had trouble when they played against UConn in the earlier 2 meetings because they had poor shooting and lack of execution. That was masked in the first half of the transition game.
And you're absolutely right, Rebecca. Here in the second half, they are struggling. They are just 2 of 9 now from the floor, and a lot of it's one-on-one. And Agevon has taken almost half of their shots tonight.
Well, Brittany Ray was in for a split second, and you're going to see Vivian Stringer stay with her starters for the most part.
Kalena Green with the lane. 7-0 run for Connecticut now over the last 3.5 minutes.
In their last game, Rutgers kept 4 players on the floor for 35+ minutes. Carson played 40, Vaughn, Prince, and Agevon 35.
There's a touch inside for Kia Vaughn. Smart play by Essence Carson to find her.
You must involve her, then you will get the outside shot, and it'll be an open look instead of a contested look, which is lower percentage.
Gonna have to rely on the experience and the poise of Essence Carson for Rutgers here as we get deep into this second half. Charles now with Vaughn on her, the double team, and Tina Charles read it perfectly, finding Sade Houston.
I'm sure Rebecca Lobo will sing this song. If you put the ball inside, good things happen, because especially with Charles, the double team, and she can pass out of it.
Agevon to McCurdy, blocked by Charles.
The ball goes to the inside. Players come to trap right here. Watch Tina Charles. It takes a minute to get started right here. Look at the double team comes. Defense didn't drop down the guard to help on the low block, and a layup for Green. That's where defensively everybody has to be working together. 2 on the shot clock.
Carson, no good. Rutgers will get another opportunity. In that regular season finale, they went through that 9-minute drought. They've had moments throughout the season where they have struggled on the offensive end to score.
And they're doing such a better job on the drives of Agevon. Weak side help is coming far over to help.
Vaughn, it'll go, and she's fouled.
Little one-on-one. See, the ball goes inside right here. Just take your time, read and feel what side the defender, the post is playing on you. Vaughn gets such great position. You know, we have said this throughout the tournament. For a big, it's all about location, location, location. Get under the rim, turn and seal.
And that is now the 3rd foul on Tina Charles with over 12 minutes to go. Kia Vaughn at the line. Completes the 3-point play. Rutgers on top by 1. Keisha Soignier. Charles calling for it inside. Tina Charles, yes.
Charles wants that basketball. You can see how low she gets in balance. She is such a big target, and when the palms are to the passer, that means that kid wants the basketball down low.
Charles, the Big East Rookie of the Year, going to work, grabs another rebound. She had a great stretch against the 4 ranked opponents in the middle of the season in early February, averaged a double-double. And then Gina Auriemma felt she took a night off against a lesser opponent and had a conversation with his star freshman and said, hey, are you going to bring it every night regardless of who the opponent is? And she responded, well,
if she played the type of game she had against Sylvia Fowles, where she had 19 and 9, she was remarkable that game.
Connecticut up by 3, under 11 to go. 15-game winning streak on the line for Connecticut. Rutgers looking to get off the schneid. They are 0 for 4 in Big East championship games. 3 of those losses coming to UConn.
What you lose with Mel Thomas on the bench, you gain with the speed and quickness in the backcourt of Soignier and Montgomery.
Houston called for the walk. 41-38 Connecticut. Freshman Tina Charles in the paint for 2. Thank you very much, Dave. An automatic bid will be handed out here at the Hartford Civic Center tonight. The winner of this one off to the NCAA tournament. 41-38, UConn with the lead over Rutgers in that play just a moment ago. Yeah, Gina Auriemma hot.
Well, here Sharday Houston turns, but see, I don't think she has control of the ball because Ajavon and her both have their hands on it, and that's what he's saying. She never had control of the ball. I agree with that call. You can't walk when you don't have the ball. And in Hartford, every hoop and possession counts.
UConn probably locked into a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. Rutgers right now hovering in that 4-5 range, but a big win tonight would certainly merit a look at a 2 or a 3. Ajavon, the kick out to Prince for 3. Charles with another rebound and then tied up by McCurdy. Possession arrow gives it to Connecticut.
It's a good strategy by Rutgers to slow the transition game down of Connecticut. Once they know they've lost the rebound, jam the rebounder and just make them hand the ball off. The key to Rutgers, to the Huskies' fast break is where their outlet pass is, and they're not getting it flowing up the floor.
Houston drops it off for Charles. Soignier to Charles. Tina spins away from Vaughn and puts it in.
That's shot blocker against shot blocker. That's a nice feel for a young player, knowing to go away, separate, and use glass.
Charles has been the go-to here in the second half for Connecticut now with 8 points.
Tina Charles used to be all left shoulder. They'd say, get on that side of the floor and don't let her go right.
Ajavon to McCurdy. Pretty look from Matee. McCurdy getting extended minutes here in the Big East tournament with those long arms and her blue-collar work ethic. Did a nice job on that play.
Rutgers so much better within their offense when they move the ball side to side. They try and get some mismatches. And then you can see the seal on the inside by Vaughn.
Vaughn faces up into the lane, high off glass for 2.
What Vaughn's improved on since her freshman year is when the ball is being reversed, she's already doing her work early in the post, getting low, sitting on the knees of the defender, and then pinning.
Soignier down the lane, and a foul on the drive. That'll be the second on Kia Vaughn. Tina Charles scoreless, played just 10 minutes in foul trouble in the first half. Now 3 of 4 shooting here in the second half. She's also got 3 rebounds, playing with 3 personal fouls right now.
A little set play right here by Coach Auriemma. He must sense something within the defense of Rutgers that he goes to this 1-4 high set. Yeah, the slip.
Backdoor cut, Again, Charles able to find Houston, who baited the defender and then blew by.
Absolutely a beautiful executed play. 1 foot high, takes away the help. You take that little hedge out, and then you go hard back door.
Pull-up is good from Mathieu Angevin with the response for Rutgers.
Beth, that's why sometimes coaches want their offense in front of them at the end of the game in the second half, because he can walk them through what he's seeing defensively.
Renee Montgomery looking for the 3, no good. All of her 11 points came in that first half for UConn. Carson thought about the 3 and thought better of it. Rutgers is only 1 of 10 from downtown.
Been really a well-played game for the pace. There hasn't been a lot of fouls. The officials have let it go and let them be the athletes that they are.
Angevin, no. Vaughn short. Missed chance there for Rutgers, 2 feet away. 6:41 to play. Connecticut by 1. Charles, the back door to Houston. Week presented by Dick's Sporting Goods, and the Big East Women's Championship presented by Aeropostale. And here's a look at that last bucket on the back door.
This is the key right here. That's Oriema calling the play. When the pass goes to Charles, freeze it right there. Look where everybody is defensively. The biggest play of the game is Houston is going to take 1 step up and then watch the reaction. She's going to step as she's using the screen, and she goes right to the rim for the layup in the second half. She and Charles already have 14 points. They had 4 points at halftime.
Distributing the ball well. That's 12 assists on 19 field goals for Connecticut, and they have turned it over just twice here in the second half after 11 giveaways in the first half. Rutgers hanging around with 11 points from Carson and 10 from Vaughn. Angevin kicking in 9 points, and Carson with the block. Houston sticks with it, no. And a foul on the floor going to go against Mathieu Angevin. That will be her first.
Peter Charles is such a quick jumper on that shot by Houston. She just kept getting closer and closer to the rim. As you see the points off turnovers, that was about 16 in the first half, and Connecticut has cut down on their turnovers dramatically.
And make it 8 steals, however, now for Rutgers as they get the takeaway there, and Angevin walks it across midcourt.
A lot of switching guard to guard, and that time Essence Carson slipped the screen.
Knocked out of bounds by Connecticut, so Rutgers will keep it.
You know, I always like that when players even guard to guard and they switch it. Everybody's working so hard to either stay, fight over, or switch. The person that sets the screen is open, and if you slip to the rim, you're usually open.
Under 6 minutes to go. Carson. Tiffany Prince.
Those teams don't get into their second, third, or fourth option. Rutgers does a good job of reversing the ball and doing that.
5:40 to go here at the Hartford Civic Center. The top 2 seeds to determine the Big East Tournament Championship and the automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. It's been back and forth all night long. UConn riding a 15-game winning streak. They haven't lost since they fell down at North Carolina back on January 15th. They are going for their 14th Big East Tournament title in their history. Rutgers is looking for its first Big East Tournament championship ever.
And everybody thought a year ago, really the last 2 years, they've been the #1 seed coming into the tournament. They thought they had a chance to do it. They had Cappy Pondexter, the All-American, and she was responsible for about a third of their offense, 20 points a game. Now the ball is more evenly distributed with this team of young players.
Tina Charles and Sharday Houston have come on big here in the second half. Mathieu Angevin and Kia Vaughn in double digits for Rutgers. Ajavon is now 4 of 21 from the floor.
Ajavon loves to penetrate going right and then try to spin the ball off the glass. They worked on this at practice today, running that 4 across.
Green and a host of red jerseys around, held ball, give it to Connecticut.
You must shorten the passes. Either the receiver has to meet the pass or the passer has to pump fake and let the defender clear.
Tremendous effort by Vaughn, who came all the way from the paint to try and pick that pass off. Under 10 on the shot clock.
This is a set play they're looking for on the weak side for Mel Thomas here if they can ever get the ball to the weak side.
Thomas will come to the strong side, rattled it in and out with 1 second on the shot clock.
They run on balls on the strong side and they're running off a stagger on the weak side.
Connecticut by 1, Rutgers with the basketball as we approach 4 minutes to play for the Big East Championship.
Two of the best defensive teams. Connecticut gives up 54 points a game. Rutgers gives up 56 points a game.
Offensive foul on Matee Ajavon. Mel Thomas was there to take it. That's the second on Ajavon.
Look how hard Ajavon goes to the rim. Mel Thomas was sitting and waiting on her. She might have even texted her. By the way, I'm coming down the lane.
Here comes a full court pressure now from Rutgers. They were working on this today, as was Connecticut.
You want to try to get the ball to wide dribble against their pressure. Pass the basketball.
Carson misses the layup. McCurdy keeps it alive. Prince for 3. Yes! They were 1 of 10 from downtown before that shot, and Rutgers is up by 2.
Well, their defense has done it again. Their defense has helped fuel their offense.
Montgomery stripped by Ajavon. Prince looking for 3 more. McCurdy, big rebound, count the basket, and she's fouled. McCurdy, the freshman from Cincinnati, 6 points and 6 rebounds in extended minutes today for Rutgers on an 11-2 run. Thank you, Dave. 3:15 to go here with Rutgers on the free throw line, and let's check in with Rebecca Lobo.
Guys, Maya McCurdy on the free throw line. She averages only 12 minutes a game during the regular season. During this Big East tournament, she's been getting 20 a game. Her parents were tired of watching this from home in Cincinnati, decided last night to make the flight. They're here watching Donald and Paula McCurdy.
And they are watching their daughter, one of her best performances of the season. 6 points, 6 rebounds in 20 minutes of work as we approach 3 to go in this battle between the highest scoring team in the league and the stingiest defense. And the D's winning big time right now.
Well, absolutely, this game has flowed the way Rutgers had wanted it. And if they're going to penetrate, if Connecticut's going to penetrate, the wings have got to stay disciplined to their spacing in the corner to not allow help defense to reach down and dig down on the drive.
Shot clock violation. A week ago, we'll give it 8 days ago. Big East Championship Week presented by Aeropostal. The men's action coming up from Madison Square Garden with a double-header tomorrow. It's all part of Championship Week presented by Dick's Sporting Goods on ESPN, also available on ESPN HD.
When's the last time those guys have played, Connecticut and Syracuse, this early in the Big East tournament?
Carson off the side of the backboard. 8 days ago, Connecticut beat Rutgers by 26 points. And here we are with 2:10 to go, and it's a 4-point Rutgers lead. Possession arrow will give it to Rutgers. And UConn will call the timeout. We will take a break with them. Rutgers with the 4-point lead in the Big East Championship. Championship week presented by Dick's Sporting Goods here at the Hartford Civic Center for the Big East Women's Championship presented by Aero Postal. The 2-seed Rutgers with the lead over top-seeded UConn. Connecticut did not lose a conference game during the regular season. They have rolled through this Big East tournament. Sharday Houston continues to stay on the sideline. And it's been an 11-2 Rutgers run right now. The last Connecticut basket was at the 8-minute mark.
Well, it has still become a problem for Connecticut because they've been to the foul line only 4 times in the game. They have 17 turnovers, which have meant 23 points, a half of the team total for Rutgers.
Ajavon. Short. Battle for the loose ball. UConn comes out with it. Trying to avoid the fates of the regular season champions in the ACC, the SEC, Conference USA, the A-10, all knocked out of their conference tournaments, unable to take home the championship hardware.
I really think that Sharday Houston has to get back into this basketball game. You know, she is one of your best basketball players offensively, and you've got to live and die with her consistent or inconsistency.
Houston returns with 1:17 to go, down 4. 5 seconds on the shot clock for UConn. Thomas from the elbow, no. Vaughn grabs the rebound for Rutgers.
Gino Auriemma said today at practice, he said, I was nervous. He says, you know, we've won 15 in a row. To run the tables for a championship is difficult. To win 22 straight games. He had a good feeling about this game.
Gino was yelling at his players that they had to get up and foul. They finally commit the foul with 1 minute to go. So that'll stop the clock. They've got fouls to give. That's why he wants to start using them up in case they have to foul to put Rutgers on the line here in the waning moments.
Foul is charged to Connecticut number 32, Belinda Green.
That's the first on Green. That's the 5th team foul on Connecticut here in the second half. Keisha Soignier comes back in.
Well, Rutgers still has three timeouts, 4 timeouts. Connecticut has 3 timeouts, and you're right, they have to stop this clock as soon as they can, and they're going to have to start playing that foul shooting game with Rutgers and hope that they don't connect on those foul shots.
Nobody has won the regular season and the tournament in the Big East Conference in the last 5 years. The last 2 seasons, Rutgers came in here as the 1 seed and got knocked out, and UConn took home the trophy. This year, Connecticut the 1 seed, and Rutgers trying to hoist the title here in Hartford. They are 0-4 in championship games in the Big East tournament. And let's take you back to Piscataway in February 26th, and it was all Connecticut.
Yeah, that was the game where Mel Thomas hit 4 out of 5 threes, had 16 points, and this was the debacle that Vivian Stringer was so upset about.
70-44 was the final 8 days ago. And what a turnaround for Rutgers. There you see once again their 5th time in this tournament final. 3 of those 4 losses have been at the hands of Connecticut.
Rutgers' identity has always been their defense.
Carson. Loose ball, and now the whistle and a foul called.
Foul is charged to Connecticut number 11.
That'll be on Keisha Soignier. That is her 3rd. Carson, Prince, and Ajavon, the primary ball handlers, all better than 70% at the free throw line for Vivian Stringer this year.
Mel Thomas goes back in the game, a little offense for defense here. They can run a couple sets for her on the weak side to try and get Mel Thomas open for some threes.
Her first trip to the line. Rutgers is now 8 of 11 from the free throw line. Connecticut 2 for 2 in the first half, 2 for 2 in the second half at the line.
It's still a 2-possession game, and for Connecticut, they have got to get the ball down the floor as quick as they can. Put the ball back in the hand. Charlotte Houston, you're wasting too much time in the back court.
Soignier will hustle it up.
Okay, they got to run this little weak side set.
Soignier for 3, no. Rebound Rutgers. And Carson is fouled with 31 seconds to go.
Foul is charged with Connecticut number 24, Charlotte.
That's the 4th on Houston.
Fourth personal foul, team has 8.
And this is really where inexperience is a problem for Connecticut. And it's nothing that he didn't talk about over and over at practice. We don't have the experience. We haven't been in these situations before.
What a job by Rutgers here tonight so far. Carson back to the line to shoot 1 and 1. Swept in the regular season by Connecticut. It's been a wave of upsets in conference tournament play around the nation so far. The champs have gone down in the ACC, the SEC, Conference USA, the A10. Upsets abound, and Rutgers working on another one right here. It would be their first ever on their 5th trip to the finals. And even a bit sweeter for them to be able to do it in Hartford. Houston, the putback is good. Quick timeout by Connecticut. Still a 2-possession game with 18 seconds to go.
Rutgers has done everything right defensively. They've got out in the passing lanes. They have boxed out. They created opportunities off their defense, and they pretty much took Connecticut away from their strength, which is transition basketball, and made them play in the half court.
Connecticut on a 15-game win streak, and here are their only 2 losses of the season. They were tie games late and could not hang on. Then they went down to LSU, and we talked to Renee Montgomery about this. We learned from those 2 losses. We have to play 40 minutes, and we have to finish strong, and they did that at LSU.
They did. At that time, LSU was playing exceptional basketball.
Is it?
And that game came down to the wire, but Montgomery hit those 2 threes in about the last minute or so of play.
Oh, and the turnover on the inbound, knocked out of bounds off of Carson. And Connecticut will get it. Helena Green comes on for Soignier.
They also keep her on the floor for offensive rebounding, but this is maybe one of the sets you haven't seen this year, where you come out.
Montgomery looking for 3, no good. Rebounded by Ajavon in the foul.
That's the 5th and final foul on Connecticut's number 24, Charlotte Houston.
That is the 5th personal on Charlotte Houston.
Those last 2 defensive stands by Rutgers were marvelous. They got touches on the shots and changed them.
In the final 8 minutes of this game, Rutgers outscoring Connecticut 15-4 with Ajavon to the free throw line with 15 seconds to go. Ajavon knocks it down. So a lot of talk about where Connecticut would be in the NCAA tournament. Would they be an overall #1? Would they be the second #1 seed?
Well, this will shake it up, especially for everybody who's been putting their bracketology to work over the last couple of days.
You think they're still #1?
I do. I have to believe that they're still a #1 seed because of the body of work. That is the 3rd deflection in 3 possessions for Rutgers.
Great job by Rutgers to get the win, and their first ever Big East tournament championship, and they win it in Hartford, defeating Connecticut 55-47. just as it was in the semifinal yesterday. A big defensive performance in the second half to shut down the highest scoring team in the Big East Conference. 55-47 the final.
Nobody has had this type of defensive effort against the high-powered scoring team of Connecticut. They took away the inside, they kept them off the foul line, and then they turned defense to their benefit offensively.
Let's send it now down to the court and Rebecca Lobo.
Coach Stringer, a week ago you lost to the same Connecticut team by 26 points. What has been the difference in your team from last week until now?
I think that we grow every day. We're just a very young team. We need to learn how to win. We need to Matias to stay in the game. Remember the last game? In fact, both of those games, she was out sitting there beside me after the first 7 minutes.
This is your first Big East tournament championship. How gratifying is this for you?
I'm excited. I'm really excited. I am so happy and so excited. I'm so proud of these guys because, you know, this is a team that lost their clothes. They were put out of the locker room. You know, we were reduced to nothing. And, wow, see them now? Man, that makes me feel great.
Coach, last year going into the NCAA tournament, you were in the toughest bracket in the Cleveland Regional. Looking ahead, what do you think would be a fair seed for your team?
Oh, I don't know. I don't care. You know what? I said this before. I said that I think that the team that deserved the highest seed was actually the team that went through the regular season undefeated, and that's Connecticut. How's that? I believed that last year, and I still believe it. So it doesn't really matter.
All right, Coach, thank you so much. Congratulations. Beth?
Thank you very much, Rebecca. 17-4 run over the last 9 minutes for Rutgers as they secure their first ever Big East championship. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports, and your exclusive home for the NCAA Women's Basketball Championship. For more on this game, join us shortly on ESPN News for a post-game extra. For Nancy Lieberman and Rebecca Lobo and our entire crew, I'm Beth Moen. So long from Hartford. Let's send it to the studio and Dave Rexon.